All right, Tatiana, is it possible for you to share the screen? We today we're covering for Debbie, who is the steward for August, and she is off this week. So we will do the steward with the coverage for her on her behalf. The minutes, can someone share? Oh, I can share them. The link, write your name. Let's find it. There you go. Okay, so today is August 30th, and this is a MicroProfile marketing call. Please, if you're here, write your name, help with the agenda. This week, we start a new model, a new template, where topics are listed in blacks. Maybe it's an easy consumption. This is brought up by Debbie, and we will let her know how it goes, right? Every steward can adjust things as they see improvements, and we test and try everything. Anyway, let's go with number one. We have the frequently asked questions is a part of the website. And with Debbie, we talked about updating it. She was what currently we have for Q&A has not been updated since MicroProfile was launched in June 27th, 2016. So we, with Debbie, talked a little bit, and you can see the Git issue. And we have what we created, the trivia facts that was introduced earlier in the year. And using that document, the plan is for Debbie to go in and curate some of the information so that that section can be updated. And she will keep us informed as she goes through it. This will be some work done in September. And Debbie, can you open the website in the middle?
Well, I'm afraid Debbie cannot open, but I can.
Yes, like seriously, like it's like, sorry, Debbie. Like I was like, Debbie, no, I'm thinking about Debbie. Whose house is like Tatiana? Thank you.
This one.
So this is the website, and we have never updated it, so it's time to update. As you can see, it still uses Java EE, so should be fun. We updated the first page of the website, but never touched this section. So now Debbie has volunteered to curate, and then she will bring the information to us for us to, do the review and approve before things change in the website. An example, nothing is changed in the website without a ticket. So there will be plenty of review. And Debbie is, she writes, that's her job. So I think she's going to do a very, very good job on this. Questions about this?
No questions so far.
Okay, let's go to the next ticket. And thank you, Tatiana, for sharing your screen.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm here because Debbie is not able to join this week, but when she returns, she will continue to do all the work she has been doing like normal, and also provide retrospective of her first month back to Steward. She has done this in 2017, 2018, but it's nothing new. But we are using methods or processes that are a little bit more involved. And we definitely want to hear from her, like we heard from Neha and from you, Tatiana. That's part of the situation. We go into, we don't have anyone in September yet to volunteer with being an steward. And this is the next one. Debbie sent a message to the marketing forum asking if anyone wanted to, and she's happy to be the co-host or co-lead with this person. I'm not sure if anyone here would like to own that work, be the steward for September. We need September and November, and this can be anyone. You will not.
From my side, I can take November, but not September, surely. September will be like overloaded for me, so this is...
Okay. So Tatiana, just create a ticket, write it here, say I take November, create a ticket and add it to the sheets, and like that we can have co-hosts. If no one volunteers, then we just own it here and there like zigzag, but it's just, she cannot do it for September, like full ownership. Let's see. Janet, will you like to do it or not? Ed, will you like to own it?
I'm under high load currently too, so
Okay. No.
maybe later, but not the next weeks.
Okay, perfect. You can co-host with anyone, really. You can choose a month and say, I want to help this month, like be much more organized. How about Ed? I'm pulling people, just John has done it so many times. No, I'm not going to pull John, but I can ask Ed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you want me to host the meeting?
Yeah, it means,
For a month?
can you, Tatiana, can you open the responsibilities document that we have? It's in the minutes here, there. So Ed, if you haven't looked at it, please look at it. In the bottom, you don't have to do it alone. You can just delegate whatever tickets come in. But if you go down, Tatiana, it tells you the kind of things that a steward is responsible for pushing forward, right? Is, you know, maintaining the minutes, making sure that if a ticket arrives, you delegate to it, it gets movement. And all the responsibilities are listed. There are many, but we have listed the most important ones. And it tells you what to do, and you are not alone. Everyone helps, but it is your job to make sure that you bring it up and say, hey, we have a problem with this.
So you need somebody to do this for September?
Mm-hmm. And there is a document that tells you exactly what to do.
Yeah, okay, sure, I can do it.
All right, this is amazing. You know, Debbie sent a message to the marketing forum. And if you can follow that one, it's listed in the agenda right now. And say, Debbie, I will be the steward for September. And that's it. You can create a ticket and just read the documents. It's here in the minutes. It tells you exactly what to do.
Yeah, and you can just paste your name and I don't know, some Twitter account or GitHub account here. So
we use Git.
Okay.
Ed, what we're going to do is, as soon as you send that reply, we will forward you the documentation for stewards, and you can help on that, like say, hey, I understand this or not. We have a guideline on support for that. This is amazing. We did it. Davey is going to be super happy about this. Mission accomplished. We go with the next one. Yes, this one is about adding triage. How do you call triage access? GitHub access for, yeah, thank you, Ed. And Tatiana for covering the 2 months that were left in the year. With Ed, we worked with Chris from the Eclipse Foundation Infra team to understand how to add GitHub contributor access. That is triage is much more self-involved than red access. And now we have tested it and it does everything aside from merge. So we closed that ticket and now Ed has drafted a document and it's here. Can you click on the document that says Ed drafted here? The next below, that one is closed. We need to close it here, below that one. Yes. So with Ed, you can see the document is in review and there is no rush. But as soon as this document is completed, we will add every microprofile in the spreadsheet. We will provide them with triage access. And this is on the marketing side, but they gain access to all the repos, which is very, very cool. Some microprofilers are not only in the business side, but also coders. And it's not that they have merge access, but this will allow them to navigate Git issues and PRs and help in a much more engaged manner.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I wish it included the project Kanban tools. It's a bummer it doesn't.
You know what, Ed? You can send that to the bug.
I think that's a GitHub problem, not a. I think it's just it's a limitation on how they implemented this feature. So yeah, I don't think there's anything in particular we can do or Eclipse can do about it.
Yeah, like when we worked in the bug for 8 months, we did the best we could, and at that time we couldn't do that. So
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. it does what it's supposed to do, right? I'm just lamenting. I wish you could, because you know, it'd be nice if people could run those Kanban boards. They're really convenient.
I agree with you, Ed. It would be nice. So, Ed, do you have anything to say? Because this is not a rush. You know, Tetiana, you will gain trash access, which means you can open a Git issue, assign it to Ryan, assign it to anyone you wish, move it. There are some tasks that have projects within, and you can move the ticket through all of it. But you will not be able to create projects. Well, we are explaining this situation and the documentation. Ed, do you have anything else to add aside from the GitHub limitations that we don't have control over?
No, I guess so the next step is to just accept or, you know, handle all of the comments you made. I don't know if anybody else had any comments, and then once we've done that, just say it's finished. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct, Ed. And one of the coolest things is, as soon as we're done with this will be hosted under the MicroProfile working group repo, which you are an editor and you are like, you can say a committer is outside of the Eclipse Foundation, is what we have chosen to use for the working group, for documentation and things like releases. So you can either, once we're done with this, you can either submit the Git without the PR and then just make it a document, or submit the PR directly and then I can merge it. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter, but there will be no limitations like we have it in the infra.
Okay, so once we've got the text here, we want to convert it to a docs that we check in.
Correct.
Okay.
We committed to that, and then we add, and then that is the document that we send to all the people, the microprofilers listed in the spreadsheet. They said you have been added in the MicroProfile trash GitHub, and now you have access to this. And it's just one sentence, and it provides the documentation, and then move on, right? If they have any questions, they can follow with Git tickets. But we have done the work on this document. Questions about this? Because Ed is doing a really good job, and he's a pilot. He's piloting the testing, and it's great. No questions. All right, let's move to the next topic. And Ed, thank you so much for all the work you're doing on this. The documentation, this is linked. We don't need to talk about it. It's like the document that I'm saying that is a spreadsheet with access. I have added everyone that is very active in the business side, and they will gain the trash access. It's just that. Debbie and Emily are not here. They are working. They need to work on a template for the releases, and the template was created as a draft by Debbie, and now Ed helped also with a follow-up in the tickets. And it seems that once Debbie is back, she will work with Emily using Ed's. Thank you, Tetiana, for the tweet. I will retweet. Yes. So Debbie and Emily, Debbie will use what Ed chose. Can you open the tickets, Tetiana? Thank you so much. Yeah, open the ticket and we can show you. Ed was the last one to follow up, and I think it was really helpful. So Debbie said. So this is the template that she will create that is automatic. Every single time a release happens in the technical side, that MicroProfile can use the template to say, this is happening. And we track it all in one ticket with multiple tickets, just united like we did this time. There you go. So then we're just waiting for Debbie to follow up. Should be, yeah, should be super nice. I think John also agreed that it was a good idea to have this. We have this for the technical releases as well. So some formality is going to be nice. Since we are waiting for Debbie and Emily to work on this, the release guidelines, here there is a document. Can we go to the document, that one? Yeah. The document is finalized. It is only waiting for Debbie. There you go, right? So we have already a Git issue, not a Git, a wiki, and then we are going to update it with this information that we have worked on. And it's the only one, the only thing missing is the latest thing for the release. And as soon as Debbie is done with that, we will unblock it and close the 3 tickets related to this task.
And what about these suggestions? This should be just be approved, or
Yeah,
that?
They need to be approved.
Mm-hmm.
There were some issues with links, and Debbie found them out. So then we just need to approve much of their work. I didn't even know that she added more things because I don't get notified. Usually when we work on documents, we need to use the Git issue and say, I have adjusted some things, please check it out.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't do it, no one knows because we're not policing the documents, right? So we need to review what she did and then finalize it. Like this one is waiting for the template. She needs to create the template, link it, and then we can move it to the wiki that already exists and that is linked into the technical documentation. So if you go back to the minutes, you can see here the wiki. Once to incorporate finishing the wiki, here, we click on that one, and that one is holding here. Under MPW release guidelines, all the data will be below tools required. That is only a placeholder. All the information will be listed from the documents here, and then we will be completed. So I have it, we have it like that just because. So we're just, so it should be fun. Questions about that?
Everything is clear here. Yeah, nice job.
Okay, we have Ed as a new steward, and the document, Ed, that you will want to see is this one. It has been written by Ruslan, Rustam, Neha, Tetiana, Debbie, myself. Everyone has been helping on this as they become stewards. And you can use this document to say, you know, some things adjusted. This needs to be converted also into a wiki. And Debbie will work with Cesar to learn how to create a PR and submit the PR. She wants to do the PR. At the beginning, we thought that she will ask Emily to do so, but she said she would like to own the PR. With Neha. Neha also wants to learn how to do that. So both of them will work together, and Cesar will unblock them. And the Zoom admin, this is created for all MicroProfile community. Also, it's a document that is finalized. John created the last documentation on screenshots, and it's ready to be converted into a wiki. Also, Neha and Debbie will create a wiki, PR, not a wiki, but they need to create a PR, and this will be converted. It's holding. Everything has been completed on this one, I believe. It's just waiting for the PR. Okay, John, we have you here. Can you open the Google document? John, you voted -1 on the vote for the trademark, and it is because something with the SurveyMonkey in privacy issues, correct?
Yes, we discussed about that a few weeks ago, I think. The intention of having that vote is to introduce the complete community to join that voting. And from my perspective, and it looks like the Eclipse Foundation has the same view, or mostly the same view. It's not allowed to have an external voting service in place without a contract. And from my perspective, it's impossible to use an US-based company for that. And sharing personal data like members of the Google group, which should be the voter space, without having every voter to accept that. They must opt in and opt out is not allowed. And sharing the data would be in violation to GDPR. So we have an issue on that. And Eva, I talked before, I have to vote on that day. Was a little bit late. And I asked Eva if I could write it that way. I wrote it then in the mailing list without causing additional problems. He said, yeah, it would be okay, and we will answer on the next day. So he said Eclipse Foundation has also a tool in place which could be used for that vote that is compliant to GDPR.
John, we really appreciate your concern. You have read it multiple times. Kevin shared a document that tells you that SurveyMonkey is GDPR compliant. And I wonder if you missed it, because I did add you into I did share via the ticket in the vote email that we have an open email thread happening where with that information, and I wonder if you missed it, because
probably
SurveyMonkey is what,
because I wrote the document, the Google Doc, and didn't find it there.
Oh, we didn't update. Oh my God, maybe this is my fault. I didn't update. Once Kevin found the document that, you know, the information that says SurveyMonkey is GDPR compliant, we didn't update the document to make the concerns, right? I pulled you into the document with comments for other things, like you suggested, you know, when the vote is happening, the sitting committee should know, you know, every few days, what are the voter tallies. If it's private, like this one, that will be private until, to make sure that there are no bias in the voting, the ranking voting. But SurveyMonkey is compliant, and we will not.
Yeah, but it is not enough that SurveyMonkey says they would be compliant. I'm not sure about that. I did short research. They are US based, and that might start the problem. Because I'm into the details to that topic, is we had recently an IJAC General Assembly and had to solve that for voting. It was the first online version of the General Assembly, and we had to establish a secret voting system for that, and that was pretty hard to solve. At the end, we ended with a tool that was compliant, hosted by the University of Göttingen, which they served to us. But we also had to ask every voter to add on a list and accept that tool for that meeting, because there was no possibility within that time. We prepared that, and that was 1 or 2 months before the meeting, to have a contract established which would be necessary between IJAC and the university. That was not available for the free service. They did it for some research institute, but for us it was impossible. And yeah, that's really tricky to handle that. At the end, I think having an email address managed by the EMO for that vote would be an low-tech version where everybody accepts that tool and that voting, and somebody has to check later on if that is a valid vote or not. But yeah, collecting the data without asking every people, and every voter needs to agree on that. that his data is used for that, we cannot share it upfront without the allowance of everybody. And the problem is at the end, violation of that could be really, really hard in the results. If somebody brings that to court, of course. If nobody does that, then probably it will happen nothing. But we have to make sure that we follow these restrictions, and they are there for good reasons, of course.
So, John, do you believe that we will have an issue with the plan was to use SurveyMonkey and just add one mailing list, the community mailing list, so that anyone, Ryan found out, and Ryan, can you confirm, after the last call 2 weeks ago, your task was to see if SurveyMonkey allowed us to add one mailing list, not individuals, because we were, concerned about privacy issues. And Ryan, you're here. You found out and you said, yes, we can add mailing lists, correct?
I believe so, but I don't remember 100% if that was my task or not, but it sounds very, very familiar.
Yes, you checked the tickets. You did say.
Well, it could be, but I get kind of overwhelmed with all the tickets.
Yeah, it has been a while. So here we have the tickets you found out, but it has been like 2-3 weeks. So how do we solve this? Because the CLIPS Foundation EMO said that we can either go and request via a Git issue and pull it into the working group to say, can you please set up a SurveyMonkey tool and do the info and add these microprofilers to it so that a few microprofilers can have access. So Tetiana, if you can share, can you share conduct and service polls, like, oh, go down.
GitHub?
Yeah. Can you go down a little bit more? Sorry about this. Yes, down. It says something about logistics. Infra survey, monkey logistics. Can you click that one? That one is super important. This one, it says here, we need to send a message to the Eclipse Foundation and ask if they create this tool, right? Like, I think maybe that will help on the side of saying, hey, it's a formal, it would be a formal infra anyway, because many people will be added on behalf of the working group. The suggestion is that Ryan on the business side will be the one hopefully to help us on these kind of activities. And then Edwin is the committer rep, and he sometimes will need to ask the entire community, especially the committers, for information so that he can vote accordingly. And I said for additional admins added here, people can, microprofilers can opt out. We also need to know if the prices increase, if we have different admins, and I think they do. The plan was to create an email, a private email like we do for HotSuite, that is what we are using at the moment to control all the microprofile media, and have a few microprofilers that have accepted the responsibility to be contributors on that task if they want to. If we were to create an email and all these people will be managers, that would create a level of transparency, right? Jan, you are not listed here, but you could be added as well. Or do we ask the Eclipse Foundation? And this is the question that we have. If you go down a little bit more, I don't see any pros on having a full control of the infra, because it will be one email and one user, and there is a trust, right? Or do we ask the Eclipse Foundation to set up the document, the tool, SurveyMonkey is compliant with privacy issues. The Eclipse Foundation uses SurveyMonkey for their own inner workings. We just need to know, can we have full transparency on the voting? That means we know 100 people voted and 10% voted this way. That would be with the number, not only the percentage, X and Y. And that is the part that we do not know. So I wonder what others think about moving forward on this. I did send a message to the forum to ask for questions, but we have not discussed it in this call yet. Oh, hey, Paul, you're here.
Yeah, just so there's the two things here. One is Jan's GDPR concern, which Sharon Corbin acknowledged on the mailing list and said she'd look into it and assure that any Eclipse Foundation approach to facilitating this voting would be in compliance with GDPR. So that's one thread.
Yes.
And then the other thread that you're discussing now is setting up assuming SurveyMonkey could be configured in such a way that it does stay in compliance with GDPR, then how would it be configured for the usage of this survey, i.e. for the compatibility logo, and potentially other surveys that might take place down the road for other topics?
Correct, Paul. I waited for this call to discuss so that we can send some of the questions that might come from here to the working group and add you to that with Sharon and say, hey, these are the questions that we have, because we want to know, we know the price, right? It's 530 if we buy it for what we need. But then we also need to know.
Right, you say we, but in this case, if the Eclipse Foundation is to pay for it by leveraging the funds in the working group, then the Eclipse Foundation is the one that is entering into the agreement with SurveyMonkey.
Correct. So then we have two choices, and we need to figure out which one is more scalable. One of the things from my side, one of the things that I see as a benefit on having total flexibility so that we don't pull the Eclipse Foundation every single time we have something.
Well, let's not assume that would be the case. So what you might want to do is clearly state what your requirements are, and ask the Eclipse Foundation if they can deliver on that set of requirements.
Yeah, that is exactly why we're talking about. That is exactly what more people in this call needs to talk. What are we missing from this ticket? And Paul, thank you so much for joining this.
Right. But don't put the option of the Eclipse Foundation as, for instance, if you need multiple admins, and if you're concluding that that's not an approach that could be viable with the Eclipse Foundation, maybe it is.
Yeah, this is what I said. Is it possible? Here, and the last part said, if we cannot add different people, different microprofilers, and change them as we see fit, right? We might have a different committed rep in another year. And
yes.
Right? So then we need to have something so fluid, and we want to make sure that the transparency and the voting is possible and all these other things. If it's possible, then sure, let's do that. But if it's not possible, then we will have to own the infra ourselves, like we do with HotSuite, right?
All right, and then one of your vendors will pay for it.
Correct, and then we will ask for the reimbursement at a later.
No, there is no reimbursement, Amelia. The Eclipse Foundation enters into the account, and it will be paid for based on the funds that are collected. There is no reimbursement.
Hold on, but we did say that whatever the working group agreed as tools, even if it were to be paid by a working group member, if it's approved by the steering committee, then that money can be reimbursed to that member. And this
no, that was never said. That was never on the table.
Actually, this was one of the main issues that we discussed while working on the budget.
All right, well, then let me be clear. It's not a model that we will entertain and can entertain.
So then we have a problem, because all this time, Tetiana, you're here. All this time we worked on a budget that said that not only do we have control onto, clearly we want all our vendors to be acquired by the Eclipse Foundation, like for instance, the t-shirts, right? And then we will submit that application to the working group mailing list to make sure that the Eclipse Foundation considers our trusted vendor. But now you're saying, Tetiana, can you go in here and say?
Yes, in that case, sorry,
just
go
in
ahead.
short, just in short. So the discussion was that if we need to have some external things bought, we go to Eclipse Foundation, we approve with them that it's okay to use this or that program or this or that t-shirt vendor or whatever, then we can order that or buy that, and there might be, and then after that, Eclipse can cover the cost or make the payment from their own organization. So something like that.
Okay, then there's been a misunderstanding, because if you need t-shirts, then you send in the request to the Eclipse Foundation. You can suggest a supplier based on someone you've worked with in the past, and include the requirements that you have for, t-shirts, for example, and the Eclipse Foundation will work to fulfill that request. And it could be with the vendor that you've named.
Yeah, that's what I recall hearing as well, with the idea that they would entertain us adding our preferred vendors, that we've worked with, to the Eclipse Foundation's preferred vendors list.
Correct. We can request that.
But there was no guarantee, right? They would entertain it, and
yeah, it was discussed that these should be approved before buying or before doing any activities. Like, we need to approve that anyway with Eclipse, so that's clear for sure. And considering the tools, let's just maybe make this clear here. If we need some new tool for this community, we just need to go to Eclipse. Eclipse will buy this tool or will buy the subscription and will provide the access. Am I right?
I think I agree with what you just said.
Okay. Okay. So basically, with this,
if you want to tee up some of these requests, let's just get them going, and we'll work on them together. SurveyMonkey is a great example. Just state what you need in the who you need to have access to it, and we'll get to work on fulfilling the request, and same for t-shirts.
Yes. So Paul, so the next step, does anyone else have anything to say? Clearly, what we're going to do is, the next steps here are to connect with, we will use the forum, marketing forum, and add all the members so they can opt in or out of becoming, clearly the suggested admins might not be needed. And this is a consideration for each one of you listed, to say, hey, I want to have access to, as a member, right? But maybe we need only 3. We want to know how much will it be if we add all these microprofilers, how much will it be if we add only 2 microprofilers, right? Like, cost is important, and scalability. At least the bare minimum, we need Ryan and Edwin, right? And then if the prices increase too much, then we just withdraw and say, hey, we need to trust our committed rep to do his job, being able to ask these questions, and trust the 2 of them to bring transparency to the private voting when it happens, especially like this one. They will be private to the steering committee so that we know what is happening with the votes before they go public after the vote is completed. So do we agree on this? To send an email first to the forum and ask everyone here listed if they want to in or out?
Well, I think that we need to send the request to Eclipse, the official one, and for them to figure out what are the options and what is the price for what number of admins. And after that, when we have the answer, how many admins we can have within specified money or within some reasonable money, then we can already figure out. Because right now we are going to ask people, and then we will say, oh, sorry, it's too pricey to do that, so let's move on. So it's better to figure out what are the options and then already ask who wants to join.
Okay. So Tetiana, totally agree with you. Does anyone disagree with Tetiana?
No,
and you can leave. I
would agree. A small voting committee, and this could be only EMO members too, if they say, yeah, they checked that the vote is taken into account, were valid. That's okay for me. I trust them.
Okay.
But having, for example, Edwin as the committee representative as part of that review would be great, of course. And if Ryan could establish the configuration for the vote, then we don't need resources of the EF from that, of course. That makes sense too.
Maybe, for example, we can have like two accounts, one admin account and one account like for reviews like of the results, but not for the configuration. So maybe there is some light version account, and this light version account can be shared with all the members, like the credentials. So we can track the answers, we can track the results, but we do not have the right to edit anything or to make any configurations. Like, and only one admin person will be like doing the stuff from the admin side. And the rest of the members will have access to the results, but from one account. In this way, it will be not that pricey, and it will be like open for everyone.
At least for those ones listed and the steering committee members. Totally agree. Tetiana, do you want to own the task of sending a message to the working group forum to ask if we add how much, you know, this will be it. We need at least 2 microprofilers, Ryan and Edwin. We need 2 seats maximum. And then we need to own the configuration of the tool so that we can scale it to whatever we want with the signs. And we need, what else do we need? We need to make sure that we get access to have full control of seeing the stats, right? And because we want full transparency after anything is done that requires community feedback, we want to share exactly the analytics and the metrics of what went down, full transparency. So will you like to own that message?
Do we need to send this to working group, or do we need to send some message to Eclipse Foundation?
We need to send it to the working group mailing list. We operate on the open, no privacy. This is no need to have a, I believe there is no need to have this request be private. It doesn't work with.
So, but anyway, this is going to be the email with the request that we are asking Eclipse to provide us with this, and these.
Correct.
Because, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, I will write.
Yeah. And Paul, thanks so much for joining on this. We really appreciated Sharon saying we will check with GDPR. Kevin did share the documentation that I thought we added into the Google document, but we didn't. So we will update the documents. And John, your feedback has been great on this, especially because you are a member with more than 43 JAGs, and your concern is valid. So we did say it. Sadly, you voted -1 for the tool and not for the actual vote that was about community. You can still change. I don't think you can change the votes anymore, but if you could, will you change it?
Yeah, when we have a compliant solution, then I'm fine. Then I'm a +1 as I wrote it. But yeah, the majority voted +1, so
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't.
It's totally great. Okay. Can we move on to the next topic? So here at Tetiana, we say on this one that you will send a message as a task, and we just open a ticket on that one so we can track it. It will be under the same area. It will be a new ticket waiting. You see, we need to send a message to the working group and then add the tickets. Or we can use the same ticket, infra survey, monkey logistics. I would prefer to be, we use that ticket to do everything else. But it's up to you, Tetiana, if you believe that you want a new ticket. We just don't want messes and confusion.
We will use the same because I think it's better to not to create like too many.
Yes, I agree.
For everything.
Yep. Okay, now we're talking about, again, compatibility page. The 2 votes, we're waiting for the vote. And we did say that in September, we wish to finish at least the guidelines, the trademark guidelines, and the handbook. With this vote, we will be able to complete the handbook that is pretty much awaiting 1 slide, right, Ryan? 1 slide, so that we say these are, you know, the compatible logo. And for the trademark, we have already voted on the implementation patent, and we need to update the implementation patent and also the compatible logo. And like, I have a question for Paul. Paul, we have the spreadsheet that we haven't visited for a while. There you go. Amazing. Paul, I was thinking about the spreadsheet and you brought it up. It's incredible. Okay. Go ahead, Paul, if you have anything to say. I don't want to pull you in the spot, but
I did find the link.
It's amazing.
But we do need to walk through it carefully at a row at a time to see exactly where we're at and who's doing what, to make sure that we're headed in the direction that we need to. And we could do that now if you like.
Yes, let's do the now.
Might be easier if I share, then I can move the cursor from one row to the next, if that's okay.
It sounds amazing. That would be better. Thanks, Tatiana, so much. Let's use the last 10 minutes. This is one of the last topics.
Okay. So let's, here we go. Let me just figure here. It's so hard to read, but everyone's got a link to it. So
it actually reads, when you had it before, it read really good. Right now it reads perfect, Paul.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Amelia. So let's just go one row at a time. So customization of the EFSP, done, check. Vote to adopt, check. Specification page for the EFSP, customized EFSP. I believe this is in GitHub. There is the MicroProfile specification process is in a GitHub repo. So I think technically, although I've colored this as not done, you could argue that it is done because there is a actually it looks somebody said there's an issue there, but at any rate, I believe the MicroProfile specification process is in a GitHub repo, and it is therefore accessible in a public way. Whether or not you want to put it on a web page like Jakarta did is up to MicroProfile community.
Actually, Paul, let me interject here. Ryan and John are working on this. John is gone for now. He's construction at his house, so he's not here, but let me interject. Ryan and only last week, the two of them were talking about the MPSP has been added into the website.
Okay.
However, my request to Ryan was to make it pretty, right? If you click on the tickets, click, Ryan, you're here. Do you understand? If you click on the ticket, go in the bottom, to the bottom, you can see the last exchange there. So the question for you, Ryan, is, and there is no rush, but if we have it in the website, John added it and it looks not good. It looks very, it doesn't match what we have.
Well, the link he has it set up in is just external, I think, doc file or something like this. So if you click on it,
that one?
That's a great question. I haven't seen this stick in a while. If you go to
that one,
there you go.
It's like this.
Is that? Oh, that's it.
Yeah, but we want it prettier, right?
That looks brutal. You can see. You can take a look at what Jakarta did. It's not. Oops, rats. Oh boy. Committees. Specification. Ah, there it is.
Actually, this is great because it's a show and tell.
Yes, that's what Jakarta did. So it's whether or not that is helpful.
So what I'll do is, instead of having the link to this doc, what we can do is just create a link on the website and just copy and paste this and format it the correct way.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of handy. And the one thing that they do is, I'm sure the MFFP does as well, as it points to the version of the EFSP that it's relative to, which probably is already in there. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
This looks like a wiki page that's not rendered.
Yeah, we just need to convert it because it's not pretty. we were not able to use it. My feedback was that when Emily and I were working with Edwin on their blog for 4.1 release, we were not able to use that link because it looked that way.
Well, I'm confident you guys will get that one sorted.
Ryan, thank you so much. Let's use tickets.
All right, so patent option done, voted, and minuted in the minutes. All good. Definition of compatibility. The key element of this one is the discussion which has been had, and I believe the outcome is that the first instantiation of the compatibility program for MicroProfile will be based on the platform spec.
Correct.
The 4.1 platform spec, which was voted on and ratified and finalized back in June, I think.
Correct.
Okay, so that's good. So now we've got the trademark guidelines, which is a legal document owned by the Eclipse Foundation. Wait. Now we're catching up on me, not the trademark guidelines. This is something that we were jointly working on.
Yeah, we drafted
Trademark guidelines. Yes, there is a draft, and we need to
update it.
Update it and see that it's current. So I think that's an important action that is, and I think I've made some points, some comments in here. So we need to get back to that document.
Can you, Paul, we know that you started working on it because we have it drafted. We drafted and we told you about this in the working group meeting that happens offset of this one many months ago. The thing that we were waiting for was to have the implementation vote that we have. So then we have that, and now we will have the vote as well for the compatibility. So I would like for us to do the updates. Is that possible? Because I know you already have the document, but it's still open. So it's public edit, and we have Manish that has been the leader of this, with many of us contributing. How do we move forward? Because we're ready to do the updates that were not possible before.
My request would be to make updates in suggested editing mode.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And then let's see where we get to, see where the areas of focus need to be based on that, see if there are any disconnects.
Okay.
So one area of disconnect that could be there, but I hope not, but let me just put it out there, would be the need for those that are participating in the trademark and compatibility program to be members of the MicroProfile working group.
No, we have that discussion. It's still open and it has not been concluded.
All right, so just for your awareness, the Eclipse Foundation position will be that they need to be, and whether or not there's, where we get to in that, if there is in fact a disconnect, we will have to work it out at the appropriate time.
Mm-hmm. Paul, we didn't think that would be an issue because most of us, as you can see in the thread that is active, we like low bar to entry. That means anyone and everyone who wishes to be to earn the compatibility can do so without being an Eclipse Foundation member and a working group member. We will work. This is the kind of things that the thread is going towards. If you see issues with it, you need to provide the feedback directly via the thread so we can restart.
Now, the thread, which thread are you mentioning? Is this the email thread that David started or a different one?
Yes, David started two emails. And
okay, and I think I responded to that one. I think I could have been the last person that responded to that thread.
But it wasn't. You didn't state in there that that would be problematic in the Eclipse Foundation.
Good point, Amelia. So maybe let me go back and take another look at it. So yeah, I will.
Can you do that? Because we did see it, and we were so concerned about moving forward with the compatibility logo and getting the confusion. So that is done. So let's us now go back into that thread, that email that is so important, that tells us who can be compatible or not, because that would be the decision.
Okay, fair enough. I'm glad we're having this discussion today.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, trademark license agreement is now that we have a definition of compatibility that is the profile spec in 4.1, we can work and finish off the trademark compatibility license agreement. And this is one that we draft and we send over to external counsel to make sure that we've got it right.
Yes, that is where the big money goes to.
And we've done some work on it, so we're not starting from scratch here. And of course, we based it on the one from Jakarta, which many organizations are already familiar with. Okay, PDF of the agreement, kind of a no-op. Compatibility artwork logo. So that is a work in progress with regards to finalizing it. And we did send a copy of the candidates to the Eclipse Foundation Trademark Office.
Oh, okay, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so just so they could take a look to see if there's any input. And you know, if I haven't heard anything back yet, but it was just sent over last week. And then, so between the vote that will happen and a logo being selected, and hopefully it'll be one that, from a trademark office perspective, is you know, a reasonable candidate to take forward and be registered, then they will register it on behalf of the working group, and we will add the logos, including the MicroProfile logo, to the artwork page for Eclipse, which is where community members go to get you know, high resolution logos for all working groups.
Yes, Paul, we're out of time, but we're exactly in a really perfect spot to stop with the brand usage handbook that is awaiting exactly for what you're waiting for. I want to thank everyone for joining today. This was not the working group meeting, so I'm really thankful that, Paul, you joined, because the topics are listed and you can see them ahead of time. Everyone else, Tetiana, you have one task. Ed, thank you so much for agreeing to be the steward for September. Super looking forward to seeing you rock it. Anything else before we go?
I don't think I'll be able to do as well as Tetiana, but anyway, thank you, Tetiana.
You see, you're trying to do things, and that is what matters. Just testing, like doing stuff. That's how we move forward. And having someone with different views definitely helps improve things. So everyone, thank you so much for joining today. This call will be recorded, uploaded later in the YouTube channel by John. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Yeah,
Thanks, bye.
Mhm.